Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Indeed, this is the big guy, Mike Avery, and welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network, and glad to have you along with us as we work our way through this month of Rocktober, a rock and roll time of year here in the great outdoors in the great state of Michigan. I say this is Outdoor Magazine Radio because there's such confusion these days about podcasting and radio, and I'll talk more about podcasting later in this hour, but this show, Outdoor Magazine, is designed as a radio show. It is recorded, produced, distributed as a radio show on 30 stations across the great state of Michigan. And a 3-hour show, too, by the way. And I always say the best way to listen to the show is on your local AM or FM station if you can. But if your local station doesn't carry all 3 hours, and listen, I appreciate any access to our affiliates, but if your local station doesn't carry all of the show, or if you live in some part of our state not covered by the broadcast signal, you can always hear the show as a podcast. In the case of this show and podcast, it's nothing more than the audio of the radio show made available somewhere other than on your local AM or FM station. So where can you hear the podcast version of the show? You can go to my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. MikeAveryOutdoors.com is kind of the online clearinghouse for all things Mike Avery Outdoors and Outdoor Magazine. I also posted on the Facebook page, the Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page. Just recently, the podcast version of the show was added to Amazon Music. It's on my Twitter feed, Avery Outdoors Twitter feed. It's also on LinkedIn. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, radio.com, a couple of other places I've lost track of, and probably anywhere you get your podcast from, you can hear the podcast version of the Outdoor Magazine radio show. But regardless, I do appreciate the fact that you're listening to me. Speaking of podcasts, I also do monthly podcasts for Jay's Sporting Goods, Offshore Tackle, Angler Quest Boats, Killer Food Plots, and Polar Craft Boats. In fact, when the radio show is over today, we will record this week's Angler Quest podcast, so keep an ear out for that. Speaking of that podcast, Angler Quest, I have had John Littlefield on the Angler Quest podcast before. John is a very interesting guy. I first met him when he was working with Captain Lance Valentine. He was first mating for Captain Lance. And that's when I first met him. I got to know him a little bit better when I took a class from John. I took my captain's class from John through Great Lakes Training, Great Lakes Charter Training, glctraining.com. John was my instructor. So I, after spending so many hours in class with the guy, I think I got to know him a little bit. He's an interesting guy. He's a captain. He's a teacher. He's an avid outdoorsman, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Captain, welcome back to the show, or welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, absolute pleasure. So listen, you told me you're giving the deer a break today so you can talk with me here on the radio show. I appreciate that. How's your season going?
So far, so good. I mean, I just started getting into hunting this week. It's still a little bit early yet where I'm hunting down here in southern Michigan. But yeah.
So you're one of those guys. You one of those guys who waits for the rut?
I don't wait, but I do tend to baby my better spots to try and not pressure them too hard before then.
I give you credit for that. That takes a lot of discipline, discipline that I don't have.
Well, I mean, we've been getting some inconsistent weather with a lot of rain, so that tends to help wash some of your scent away and make it a little easier to hunt a little bit more. So,
what about fall fishing? What have you been up to, John?
I've done. I guess I went a little fall catfishing last week for something different, but when the weather allows, I intend to do some Lake Erie fishing here in the next week or two as well.
Oh, that's got to be getting ready to bust wide open, isn't it?
I would think. I haven't talked to anybody firsthand that's been over there, but it seems like this time of year, as the weather or the water gets colder, the fishing just gets better. So I'm sure it's doing good.
I want to talk a little bit more about this catfishing. Tell me about that.
Well, honestly, I was perch fishing on Lake St. Clair here about a week and a half ago and happened across a big channel cat, and it just kind of reminded me how fun they were to catch. So my brother and I spent 2 days targeting them. They did pretty good. This time of year, it's pretty, I wouldn't say it's easy, but they're a warm water species. So when the water's cold, they tend to congregate where you can find warm water.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. You said you targeted cats. How do you target catfish?
There's a lot of ways, but rivers tend to be a little bit warmer. Power plants with discharges tend to be warmer. Just like anything this time of year, they're feeding, and they'll eat a variety of stuff. So they're just kind of one of those species that eats almost anything, and they're just fun to catch.
They fight hard?
I don't call myself a catfish fisherman, but you know what? I do like catching fish, and they check all the boxes for me. So, yeah, they do fight hard.
What's your favorite of all the different? I mean, I've seen pictures of you with catfish, with walleye, with salmon. What's your favorite?
It's going to be hard to put my finger on one. I don't know. Trout and salmon, I guess. I can't pick one species in that group, but the trout and salmon probably get the nod. But
how was your summer salmon fishing season? Did you get a chance to fish much, or were you in the classroom most of the time?
I was in the classroom most of the summer. I spent actually a lot of time in Florida this summer teaching, but I did get out for a couple weeks early September to do some salmon fishing, some lake trout fishing, and it was a different season for sure. I was up in the Traverse City area, but when the smoke cleared, it seemed like we did at least as good as most years, so can't complain.
Did you get a chance to do much fishing when you were in Florida?
Always. Well, yeah, always make at least a few days. I did probably 2 or 3 full days of fishing when I was down there. Yeah.
How is that fishery down there? How's that different than what we have up here?
I would just say variety, mostly. I mean, there's umpteen million species of fish you can target, inshore, offshore. It's hard to say. There's so much that's the same, but there's so much that's also different.
Now, are you running? You're running charter trips, right? You're working, excuse me, as a charter captain, right?
Yeah, I am. Actually, just got a new angler quest this fall, and didn't do much charter fishing this fall, but next spring I'll definitely start to pick it up a little bit.
I didn't know you got a new angler quest. Which one did you get?
It's 826 Pro Troll Deluxe. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, you went right to the top. You went right for the big dog.
I figured you might as well.
Yeah, that's actually what I've been running for the last 2 years, the 826 Pro Troll. And I'll tell you, John, I went up from an 824, and that extra 2 feet, you really can feel it. It smooths out the ride even a little bit more. I think you're going to be, well, I'm sure you are, very impressed.
I am. I fished out of the 22. I fished out of the 824 quite a bit, and now the 826. And for the big water, you can definitely tell the jump from 22 to 24 is especially noticeable. But then the 24 to 26, you just get a lot of extra room. It's really nice to. The 24 is a big boat, but the 26, it's a different animal. I really enjoy it.
What outboard did you put on that?
It's got a 300 Suzuki on it.
Man, you really went all out, didn't you?
It's had a lot of big plans for this boat. I'm pretty excited about it.
So will you, I mean, are you going to take that all over the place? Like Michigan up Traverse Bay, Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie? Is it going to be all over?
Absolutely. So far, I mean, I've fished Lake Michigan and Lake Erie with it already this year in the last few weeks. Next year, I've got a couple of big Lake Superior trips planned that I won't shed too much light on yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, why? Now, well, come on. What are you holding back on me for?
I don't know. I just got some big plans, that's all.
So I know what you're going to do, and you're going to run that thing out to Standard Rock, aren't you?
I'm not going to say no.
I guessed it. You know what, though? I think that's extremely exciting because I haven't heard of anybody doing that yet. So that would be so cool.
No, and that's one of those trips you don't do it alone.
Right.
I know some people up there that they charter out there. They make the trip a lot, and definitely going to be caravanning out there. But, yeah, it should be an adventure.
Wow, that is very cool. Captain John Littlefield, you can find him at littlefieldsportfishing.com. That's littlefieldsportfishing.com. Got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this whole process of becoming a licensed captain through Great Lakes Charter Training. GLCtraining.com is that website, glctraining.com. Captain Mel Stackpool is the guy who came up with this concept, a Michigan guy, and now he has classes throughout the state here, but also across the country. And John Littlefield is one of his, I think, one of his key players, one of his key teachers. I also want to ask John, when we come back, how the whole COVID thing affected things, because I know for a while, I think for a while, they were shut down because, of course, you couldn't get together in person. So did they go online, or are they back in person now? And we'll talk a little bit more about some fall fishing tips as well. Then coming up after that, Ian Fitzgerald of MUCC will join us. He's got some thoughts on Proposal 1 coming up on the ballot. And then this week's Ask Avery segment talking about podcasting, outdoor communicating, and kind of general shoot the breeze to wrap up this second hour of Outdoor Magazine. By now, you know all about Angler Quest boats. The center console design, binary wall system, and smooth ride with lots of room have anglers convinced a pontoon can be a great fishing rig. And the folks at Michigan-based Angler Quest continue to make their boats even better. Now, the signature rocket launcher Arch can tilt down. That's great for high water levels, trailering, and storage. Also, there's a new panfish model that's perfect for smaller inland lakes. The popular Pro Troll models continue to dominate big water for walleye, salmon, and trout, and the family fish can keep everyone happy, whether fishing or cruising. All Angler Quest boats are designed by fishermen and made in Michigan by skilled craftsmen using the latest technology. You can learn more online at anglerquestpontoons.com. That's anglerquestpontoons.com. With more models, upgraded designs, plenty of features, and bigger outboards, this is the perfect year for you to join the Angler Quest family.
At Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. We're better for a reason. Like Garber's low price guarantee. Get incredible everyday low prices on a new Chevy Equinox, Silverado, Traverse, or Trax. Think you found a better deal somewhere else? Bring it to us, and we will beat it. Getting more options and choices is always better. And Garber's combined inventory is the Great Lakes Bay region's largest selection of new Chevrolets. Browse online at GarberChevrolet.com. Then use our Buy From Home feature to purchase entirely online. And Garber Chevrolet's customer service is in a class of its own. We always put your needs first. Better prices, better selection. There's a reason why you'll do better at Garber Chevrolet in Midland, Saginaw, Linwood, Caro, and now Chesaning. Home of the low price guarantee. Online at GarberChevrolet.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You'll do better at Garber.
Have you tried the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks from Michigan Brand Meats? They feature two of my favorites, elk and pepper, and I think they taste great. I've been working with the Grillo family of Michigan Brand for a few years now, and I couldn't be happier. Michigan Brand is family-owned and based right here in Michigan, and they make lots of great products. From jerky, sausage, and those Hunter Sticks to their famous Michigan Brand hams, you can't go wrong with Michigan Brand meats. Plus, Michigan Brand can process your boned-out wild game, too. Check out the website, michiganbrand.net, for more info. That's michiganbrand.net. You can buy the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks on that website. Plus, you can get them at Jay's Sporting Goods, all Forward convenience stores, Jack's Fruit Markets, and many other great stores, too. There's a complete list on the website. Again, that's michiganbrand.net for the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks, the outstanding Michigan Brand hams, and lots more. michiganbrand.net. Security Credit Union wants to thank you for helping to make them one of Michigan's fastest growing credit unions. Check out Security's Debit Rewards program, where you can earn points just by using your debit or Titanium Rewards credit card. Redeem those points for great gifts and merchandise. Or how about the Save to Win account? That's a Security Credit Union account that gives you all the benefits of a traditional savings account, plus the chance to win big. Every $25 you deposit into this share certificate earns you an entry into the monthly and quarterly drawings. The more you save, the more chances to earn. Up to 10 entries per month. You'll build up your savings, earn interest and dividends, and have a chance at multiple prizes. And remember, Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Federally insured by the NCUA. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Caro on WKYO. That's 1360 AM. Also on 92.1 FM on WIDL. You can hear us in Port Huron on WPHM 1380 AM. And let's go north of the bridge. Let's go to Ishpeming, WIAN 1240 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by the Hunter Safety System. Hunter Safety System. These guys have revolutionized, in my opinion, how we look at tree stand safety. No longer is it cool, no longer is it macho to go up a tree without a full body harness on. In fact, I think it's irresponsible. I think it's selfish, and I got to be honest with you, I think it's just plain stupid. Gone are the excuses. Oh, I can't put that vest on. I can't put that safety harness on. It's too hard to figure out. No, these new vests and harnesses are so easy to use. You combine that with a lifeline that you hook into on the ground. And this is key here. You've got a lifeline that extends from the tree above your stand down to the ground. You hook in your harness on the ground. You slide up the connection, the Prusik knot, as you go up the stand or up the tree. You stay attached to that connection the entire time you're hunting. And when you come back down, you slide it down till you hit the ground again. You can't fall. Well, I mean, you could slip off a step or something, but you're not going to fall to the ground. It's a wonderful, wonderful system. I really like Hunter Safety System products. I know those guys. I was with them from the beginning when they started the company. So I support them. If you decide you don't like Hunter Safety System for some reason, please use somebody's full body harness. And the folks at Hunter Safety System will even tell you, if you don't like our stuff, use somebody's. Again, I really like Hunter Safety System. HunterSafetySystem.com. I recently, here this season, actually started hunting from tree stands again. I'm hunting from a primal ladder stand. And I wouldn't be able to do it if I wasn't tied in with my Hunter Safety System harness. HunterSafetySystem.com is the website, HunterSafetySystem.com. Also, while you are online, please check out my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. The online source for all things Outdoor Magazine Radio and Mike Avery Outdoors. And a couple of other websites, LittleFieldSportFishing.com. That's the website of Captain John Littlefield. And GLCTraining.com. GLCTraining.com is the website of Great Lakes Charter Training. It's the process that I used to get my captain's license. John Littlefield actually taught the class, and John has been traveling the country here the better part of this year teaching similar classes. And, John, I got to ask you, how did COVID affect you guys? I think you were actually shut down for a while, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, it shut down. There's most businesses around the country kind of took a hit. But for us, being with mostly classroom instruction, definitely put a damper on things for a while. But it also allowed us the opportunity to get into online instruction, which is something that we didn't have before. So that offers guys another option if for some reason the classroom doesn't work for them. So it's kind of cool. Something good that came out of it.
Are you still offering that online option?
Yeah, I've taught a couple of them. I don't have any on my schedule to teach for the foreseeable future, but it is it is still a good option, yes.
Well, after going through it, it's well, from my perspective, it was intense enough that if I had a choice, I would probably not do the online, but it sure was nice to have it there as an option for a while, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's what I tell guys too. From the couple that I've taught, it is more challenging as an instructor. It's also more challenging for the students with the online format. But for some people, especially the kids that, maybe they just got out of college and they are used to the online format, it works really well for certain people. It's got, just like anything, there's pros and cons to it.
How did you get into the teaching side of this?
Well, it definitely wasn't something that I set out to do. It's not something that I always knew I wanted to do. But when I took the class from Mel, that was, I don't want to tell you wrong. See, I was 24, going on 25 when I took the class. And then he approached me and asked me about teaching. And over the course of that week class, I asked some questions and talked a little bit about it. And it seemed like an opportunity that was at least worth exploring. And as it turns out, I have a lot of fun doing it. And here I am. A couple years later, I'm going on 3 years teaching. And
as you say, Great Lakes Charter Training, even though based here in Michigan, you guys do these things all across the country now, don't you?
Yeah, it's a Coast Guard license, so it's good anywhere in the country, the U.S. Coast Guard. We've got guys that teach, down south, Texas, Louisiana, Alabama. I teach in Florida quite a bit, Virginia. We have Connecticut, California, so we're nationwide.
Do you teach the Florida class just like you teach the Michigan class?
Yep, same class. It's the same exact license. So all the requirements are the same. It's the same course. So yeah, just the location's the only thing different. I've had people from Michigan go to Florida in the wintertime to take the class to get out of town. So,
that actually doesn't sound like a bad idea at all.
No. I remember one class I had 10 people, and half of them were from Michigan and Illinois, just because they figured, well, might as well go on vacation.
Might as well. So you teach in your Florida class, you teach that same darn charting class you teach in Michigan.
You make it sound so inconvenient and challenging, but charting is, I think it's the most fun part of the whole deal.
I don't know. It was interesting, and it really is a lot of fun, and it was challenging. And I've talked to a lot of people who have tried to take this class on their own, because you can do it on your own and take the test on your own. But I know a lot of people who couldn't do it, and they came back and redid it with you guys, John.
Yeah, that happens quite a bit. And it's, like you said, it's just a ton of stuff. And a lot of it comes down to memorization, but, it's nice to have somebody right there that can answer questions and explain it and put it in a way that makes it stick. That's the challenge, especially trying to learn it on your own. Just makes it easier.
And you guys have done this enough. You've really got a system. You know how to use keywords and little rhymes and sayings and such that help people remember these. And your success rate, don't you, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you guarantee that your customers will pass the exam?
Well, yeah, that comes in a few different forms.
Okay, yeah.
Tuition guarantees that you pass, but it doesn't. We have guys that, some learn better than others, some take longer than others. You pay once, and sometimes guys come back a couple different times before it sticks, and that's okay.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. So listen, who should take this? Who are your customers, your clients?
Yeah, well, anybody that accepts money from, operating a boat on Coast Guard navigable waters, which here in Michigan is the Great Lakes, they need a captain's license. The Coast Guard says even if you take gas money, you need a captain's license. So it's that simple.
And I think people forget about that. Oh, yeah, I'll chip in a few bucks for gas. Well, if you want to be to the letter of the law, you can't take that gas money.
Yeah. Everybody does it. Everybody has it, but that's not what the law says.
Yep.
So, yeah, and it's not just charter fishing, sightseeing cruises, diving tours, running, towboats like Towboat US. There's a lot of different things you can do with a captain's license that most people don't realize when they take the course.
So how big of a boat can you come out of your class and legally run?
Well, the class is good to up to 100 gross registered tons, which is a pretty big boat. But the license that you get depends on your prior experience, what size boats you have experience on. So you'll get a 25-ton or a 50-ton or a 100-ton license, depending on your experience.
So help me figure out, how big is a 25-ton boat?
Bigger than most charter boats.
Yeah, bigger than any charter boat we're going to be running, right?
That's what I tell people. People are worried, I only qualify for 25-ton. Well, that is bigger than most boats guys are running. So for most people, it's not an issue. And
an interesting distinction, too. This is not the six-pack we hear so much about.
No, it's, the requirements are similar. So that's why we don't even worry about teaching the six-pack, because the master takes it one step further. It's the same rule book, same charting. A few extra test questions is it. So we just go right to the master, and you end up with a more qualified captain's license at the end. So instead of being limited to 6 passengers like you would with a six-pack license, you're limited by the tonnage of the vessel and then whatever capacity that vessel is legally allowed to have.
The reason I wanted to get you on now, John, is I thought that with the wintertime coming up, it might be a good time for folks who are interested in this for next summer. Really now, I think, is the time to take advantage of this and sign up for one of these classes. It's a good time of year, I think, to get this. I don't want to say to get it out of the way, but to get it under your belt.
Yeah, it's one of those things that once you do it, as long as you keep it renewed every 5 years, you don't have to do it again. So, when I took it at the time, it's not because I had immediate plans. It's just I had the time to do it. And once you do it, you've got it.
And again, like for me, I'm not running paid charters, but just because I take a lot of people on the water, and I feel better now having that license in my back pocket, knowing that everything is above board, everything is legit. I give away a lot of trips for charity auctions and such, and even that type of thing. You've got to be licensed to keep this all straight and above board.
Yeah, and I get a lot of guys too that they take the class just kind of as a bucket list type thing. It's something they've always wanted just because they've spent their life on the water. And at a minimum, you're going to learn all of the rules. Most people out there, it's pretty obvious they don't know the rules. And through the class, you will learn Coast Guard regulations. You'll learn some navigation, some safety. We cover the buoy system. Just tons of stuff.
After I took the class and I was out running around there on Saginaw Bay, I'm shaking my head up like, oh man, there really are rules of the road, people. You can't just go wherever you want, whenever you want. And yeah, I think we should all learn those. John, listen, always a pleasure. Thanks for helping me out. I would encourage people to go to your website, littlefieldsportfishing.com, and especially to go to glctraining.com if you're interested in taking one of these classes from John or Captain Mel or any of the other instructors here in Michigan in particular, or if you're going to be down in Florida, anywhere in the country, glctraining.com. You will find it is well worth your time if this is something you're interested in. John, have a great fall, and we'll talk with you again soon. And congrats on that Angler Quest.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, we'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, Ian Fitzgerald from MUCC with thoughts on Proposal 1 coming up on the ballot here in just a couple of weeks. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold, WCBY AM and FM, 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Flint on Super Talk 1570 WWCK. And you can hear us in the Ute in Iron Mountain on WMIQ 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Boning Archery. Boning, a Michigan-based company celebrating 75 years in the archery industry next year. How cool, how impressive, how proud they must be. And they have a right to be. I mean, Roland Boning invented Boning Archery with a product called Ferrule-Tite to glue broadheads to, at the time, were wooden arrow shafts. He was around when Fred Bear was around, kicking off modern-day archery. And you look at them today, they continue to innovate, come up with new products, designs. Check them out online at bohning.com, BOHNING.com, bohning.com. 75 years next year in the archery industry, a great Michigan company, and congrats all the way around. I want to turn our attention now to the folks at MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs, the website MUCC.org, MUCC.org. I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, Avery, how should I vote on Proposal 1? I am not about to tell somebody how they should vote. But it seemed like good timing when the folks at MUCC said that Ian Fitzgerald could join me this week and talk about that issue a little bit. Ian, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, Mike. Doing pretty well. Yourself?
I'm doing just great, so listen, what are your thoughts? Now, I see MUCC is urging a yes vote on Proposal 1. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yep. So we've been working on this issue for about a year with several stakeholders, and, it's always funny when you get hikers, hunters, and hippies all working together, which usually doesn't happen, but on an issue like Proposal 1, and it'll be on the ballot on November 3rd, which is, less than 2 weeks away now.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool when you see groups like this working together.
So there seems to be some confusion or misconception, like there are on so many things these days, but help us figure this out, Ian.
Yeah, sure. So I think it helps just to provide some quick context. So the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund was created in 1976, and it uses royalties from oil and gas leases on state lands, and it funds acquisitions and development for public land projects. So in 1984, it was then put into the Michigan Constitution as a protected fund source because time and time again, we saw legislators messing with those funds. And today, it's put $1.1 billion towards public land acquisition or development. And so what this proposal does, it's kind of a two-part thing. So the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund is currently at its cap, and the royalties that are going to the State Park Endowment Fund now, and when that hits its cap, which could be in 30 years, those funds would then go to the state legislature to use in general fund and things that probably won't be going back to our public lands. So it removes that cap and allows the fund to keep going for what it's supposed to do, public lands, acquisitions, and development.
So this is a proactive move. It's not something we're imminently involved, imminently in danger of hitting that cap now, but you're looking down the road.
Absolutely. Yep. We've got a crack at the apple right now, and we should do that. And the other part, though, is, imminent. And so the funding matrix is kind of what's going to be changed as well. So currently, and this gets a little confusing, but no less than 25% can be spent on land acquisition, and no more than 25% can be spent on development. And what we've been seeing, in any given year, there's development proposals that are pretty robust. And as you know, infrastructure across state parks and public lands is kind of dwindling. And so, there's these development projects that can't get funded because there's, only up to 25% can be spent on development projects. This new funding matrix would be a minimum of 25% to land acquisition and a minimum of 25% to development. So then the trust fund board could, if there's a given year where there's a lot of land acquisition applications, they would still have the liberty to go up to 75% for those acquisitions. But also, if there's a lot of development, and development, when I say that, it's like boat ramps, updating bathrooms, things that people really use when they're out there.
So we're not talking like condo developments on this public land or something like that then?
No, exactly. Okay. Yep. And that's another, thing that people get confused about. It's not real estate. It's not, these are things that, you use when you're out in the woods, out on, boat ramps, fish cleaning stations, things like hunters and anglers, really appreciate.
Again, I'm not about to try to tell somebody how to vote, but this seems pretty clear cut, Ian.
It does. And, we've seen some opposition. We've had 30 conservation organizations, land conservancy groups, all in arms. And actually, this was a legislatively initiated ballot proposal. Back in 2018, it was unanimous support in the Michigan legislature. And I'm sure, as you know, Mike, that's something that doesn't happen very often. And so the opposition we're seeing is mainly in the concern that less land acquisition is going to happen. And as I mentioned, with the applications that we've been seeing, there's need for things other than land acquisition. And if there was a certain year where there was a lot of acquisition projects, the trust fund board would still have, a lot of liberty to address those.
So to sum it all up, MUCC is suggesting?
Vote yes. Vote yes, Prop 1 on November 3rd.
That sums it all up. All right, Ian, always a pleasure. Appreciate your time. Your job there as the, policy coordinator, something like that?
Yep, I do. I'm a policy assistant, and I do a lot of our special events. So I'm planning our convention and a lot of that stuff as well.
Now, are you optimistic on the convention, or you have backup plans already for next summer to make it an online event?
Well, so what we saw this summer, we transformed it to an online, and any resolution that didn't pass our online system, we still are going to handle. They didn't fail because, we didn't feel fair that it didn't have an in-person chance. Moving into next year, we'll see what happens. Maybe we do it online again. Who knows right now with next spring and next June.
All right, play it by ear. All right, Ian, appreciate your time. Ian Fitzgerald, MUCC, MUCC.org. By the way, if you want to save 25% on your MUCC membership, your first time signing up, or your renewal, you can go to MUCC.org, use the promo code Mike, all caps, MIKE, and save 25%. I actually did that. I used my own promo code and saved 25% on my renewal. You can do the same. MUCC.org, promo code Mike, all caps. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, we'll wrap up this second hour with this week's Ask Avery segment. Security Credit Union wants to thank you for helping to make them one of Michigan's fastest growing credit unions. Check out Security's Debit Rewards program, where you can earn points just by using your debit or Titanium Rewards credit card. Redeem those points for great gifts and merchandise. Or how about the Save to Win account? That's a Security Credit Union account that gives you all the benefits of a traditional savings account, plus the chance to win big. Every $25 you deposit into this share certificate earns you an entry into the monthly and quarterly drawings. The more you save, the more chances to earn. Up to 10 entries per month. You'll build up your savings, earn interest and dividends, and have a chance at multiple prizes. And remember, Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Federally insured by the NCUA. Have you tried the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks from Michigan Brand Meats? They feature two of my favorites, elk and pepper, and I think they taste great. I've been working with the Grillo family of Michigan Brand for a few years now, and I couldn't be happier. Michigan Brand is family-owned and based right here in Michigan, and they make lots of great products. From jerky, sausage, and those Hunter Sticks to their famous Michigan Brand hams, you can't go wrong with Michigan Brand meats. Plus, Michigan Brand can process your boned-out wild game, too. Check out the website, michiganbrand.net, for more info. That's michiganbrand.net. You can buy the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks on that website. Plus, you can get them at Jay's Sporting Goods, all Forward convenience stores, Jack's Fruit Markets, and many other great stores, too. There's a complete list on the website. Again, that's michiganbrand.net for the Mike Avery Hunter Sticks, the outstanding Michigan Brand hams, and lots more. michiganbrand.net.
It's a complicated world we live in. Right about now, I'll bet your head is spinning like a tornado with news and opinions and conflicting do this and don't do that recommendations. Some days, you just want to throw up your hands, go to the woods, and stay there. And that's not a bad idea. Jay's Sporting Goods encourages you to get back to your roots. Do some simple, traditional things for a while. In Michigan's great outdoors, space is one thing we have plenty of. So put as much social distance as you like between you and everyone else, including all your social media pals who somehow just recently became experts on every topic. And one more thing. Before you head out, head into Jay's Sporting Goods. Because even though there are shortages of a lot of things these days, Jay's has just what you need to make the most of your escape to our beautiful wide open spaces. It's the gateway to social distancing the way God intended. Jay's Sporting Goods, Clare and Gaylord.
Hey, you like to hunt for different game in changing conditions, but it can be expensive to buy hunting clothes in every pattern. Well, now there's a way to change your camo without breaking the bank. With VersaSkins, you can buy one set of hunting clothes and change the pattern to suit your surroundings. You can switch from whitetail to waterfall, blaze orange, and snow camo by just snapping on a new skin. Plus, VersaSkins keep you warm, dry, and protect you from the elements. To learn more, check out the website versaskins.com. VersaSkins, just change the skin for the season you're in.
When you buy a Michigan hunting or fishing license, you're helping to fund conservation efforts across the state. The majority of funding for taking care of Michigan's fish and wildlife comes from you, hunters and anglers, not state taxes. So on behalf of the Michigan Wildlife Council, we'd like to thank you for your part in ensuring that Michigan's hunting and fishing heritage will be here for generations. Learn how the Michigan Wildlife Council promotes the role of hunting and fishing at hereformioutdoors.org.
You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Muskegon on WKBZ. That's 1090 AM. You can hear us in Mount Pleasant on WMMI AM and FM, 830 AM, 92.3 FM. And you can hear us in Lansing on WILS, 1320 AM. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you by Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. The way the Ask Avery segment works is you can pose questions to me, and you can send those to me in a variety of ways. You can send them to me by email. My email address is mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. That's mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Or you can post them on any of the social media outlets, private messages and such. And it is very broad-based. Anything you want, within reason, ask the question. Now, sometimes these are directed at me, and sometimes they're questions about, how to stay legal when you're out in the outdoors, hunting or fishing or whatever. And those, of course, I just direct those right to the experts, and I bring those experts in to answer. And the last few weeks, we've had some very, very good and fairly... I don't want to say serious, but very hard-hitting questions and very good answers, put it that way. So this week, I thought I would want to lighten it up just a little bit. And I can't attribute this particular question to anyone in general, but it's a question that I get on a reoccurring basis from a lot of different people. And it involves the concept of outdoor communication and how to get into the outdoor industry and, how should somebody get started these days? Because, face it, hunting and fishing is something that so many of us do for fun. It's such a passion, and wouldn't it be nice to be able to take that passion to the next level? Like in my case, I've been blessed to actually turn it into a career. And those opportunities are out there. They're out there today, just like they were out there 40 years ago when I started. But they're not gonna jump in your lap. For the most part, you're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to work for them. You're going to have to find ways to make it happen. I suggest these days that because it is so easy to get your product out there, to get your content out there, that even if you don't want to do it for a living, which is probably not something you should strive to do off the bat. For example, when I started with the Outdoor Magazine television show, that was produced out of WNEM TV5 in Saginaw, and it used the resources of pretty much the entire station. These big, heavy TV cameras with an umbilical cable between them over to a big, heavy recording deck, and then I would take it into their edit rooms, these that had videotape decks that would shuttle back and forth, and edit them down. And then I would take those tapes up to a control room where we had a director, a technical director, an audio guy, an engineer, and we'd put these things together, and then they would be broadcast out on the airwaves and on cable, which was pretty darn cool, to be honest with you. And there weren't that many people doing it at the time. But it was a very, very intense and expensive venture. These days, of course, I'm out of television to concentrate on radio. And as I'm sitting here in the radio, I am in the studios of WSGW in a professional, well, when I'm here, I don't know how professional it is, but it's a professional building. So I'm surrounded by professionals using professional gear, professional equipment, and this show is broadcast on radio stations across the state. That is an option. But it's darned hard to make happen. It's taken a lot of years to get this to this point where it is today. So with that in mind, what I am encouraging people is Because technology has advanced so much, so fast, and I'm a geek, I love all the technical stuff. You don't need the big fancy equipment anymore. You don't need the big fancy TV studios. You don't even have to have a radio studio. You can do podcasting. Podcasting is huge. You can do online videos. And these online videos, many of them are just as good and technically sound and sharp as what we see on the cable systems. But the benefit is you don't have to pay to be on there. Here's the dirty little secret. Every show you see on the Outdoor Channel, the Sportsman Channel, Hunt Channel, or whatever, is paying to be on there. You can get your message out. You can get your story out free by doing a podcast, by doing online videos on Facebook, especially on YouTube, on Vimeo. The options are there these days. When I go into the woods now or on the water, I rarely carry anything more than my iPhone. My iPhone will shoot high-definition video of a better quality than the $75,000 professional TV cameras we used to use. I can edit this video on my iPad. I can edit this video on my phone. Podcasting's the same way. It all comes down to this. If you have an interesting story to tell, do it. The online and social media options and avenues these days are just limitless. It doesn't take expensive gear, and you can reach a lot of people. Are you going to reach a lot of people right away? Probably not. But if you have a good story to tell and you're willing to promote it, you can reach these people, and you can reach them very efficiently and very effectively. And again, thank you to my friends at Security Credit Union for helping to make the Ask Avery segment possible. Check them out online at securitycu.org, securitycu.org. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with the third hour of this week's Outdoor Magazine.